Done with my exams finally. Yes, Prabhuji, sure. Text 11. Chapter 11, text 8, text 28. Yatha nadinam bahavo. What's this? Bhu vega samudram eva bhimukha dravanti tatha davami naraloka vira visanti vaktrani abhi abhivijvalanti. As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. Should I read the next
Continue.
text? Okay. Text 29. Yatha pra, yatha pratiptam gyalanam patanga.
Jwalanam.
Okay. Jwalanam patanga visanti nasaya samritha vega tathaiva nasaya visanti lokas tavapi vak, vak, vaktrani samriddha vega. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire.
Okay.
Text
Thank you
30 as
very
well.
much. I'll read this one.
Welcome, Prabhu.
Okay. 11:30. Lelihyasya grasamana samantal lokan samagran vadanya jwalabdhi tejobhir apurya jagat samagram bhavas tavogra pratanpati pane Vishnu. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. अख्या ही में को भवन उग्र रूपो नमोस्तुते देववरा प्रसीद विज्ञातुम इच्छामि भवान्तम अद्यम नाहि प्रज्ञानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalusmi Loka Kshaya Krit Pravriddho Lokan Samhar Samahritam Iha Pravritta Ritepi Tvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye bhavastita prati anyekeshu yadaha. Translation. The Supreme Personality of God had said, "Time I am the destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All soldiers here on both sides will be slain." Purport. Although Arjun knew that Krishna was his friend and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was puzzled by the various forms exhibited by Krishna. Therefore, he asked further about the actual mission of this devastating force. It is written in the Vedas that the supreme truth destroys everything, even the Brahmanas, as stated in the Katha Upanishad. Yasya Brahma cha Shatra cha Ubhe Bhavata Odana Mrityur Yasyopasechanam Ka Ittaha Veda Yatra Saha. Eventually, all the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and everyone else are all devoured like a meal by the Supreme. This form of the Supreme is the all-devouring giant, and here Krishna presents himself in that form of all-devouring time. Except for the few Pandavas, everyone who was present on the battlefield would be devoured by him. Arjun was not in favor of the fight, and he thought it was better not to fight. Then there would be no frustration. In reply, the Lord is saying that even if he did not fight, every one of them would be destroyed, for that was his plan. His is a capital H, means Krishna's plan. If Arjuna stopped fighting, they would die in another way. Death could not be checked. Even if he did not fight, in fact, they were already dead. Time is destruction, and all manifestations are to be vanquished by the desire of the Supreme Lord. That is the law of nature. Does anybody know this famous verse was repeated during a famous time in history by a famous scientist?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think I know it was the creator of the atom bomb.
Right.
His name was he was Project.
Robert Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Dr. Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when he saw that mushroom cloud, his reaction was, he was quoting from Bhagavad Gita, that time I am, destroyer of everything. Because in the Vishwarup form, as we are reading right now, this is Krishna exhibiting the visual form of what is happening and what is going to happen in the battlefield of Kurukshetra to encourage Arjun so that he can understand that these people who are fighting are already dead. But Arjun is not going to die. The Pandavas are going to be saved by Krishna. But everybody on both sides are going to be over and out, right? So basically, this is the Lord's will. Whether Arjun kills or not, the job is already done. So Arjun is kind of scared because he's used to seeing Krishna being sweet, smiling friend that he has, and here Krishna is all devouring, destructing. He's devouring all these soldiers and everything. So he's seeing what the future holds, kind of like what's that movie called? I forget the name of the movie, which talks about people get visions of the future.
Is it The Matrix?
No. It's like premonition. You get anyway. There are a few movies like Final Destination. Correct, Ujjwal? Yes, Final Destination. So where people get the premonition, like, oh, this is going to happen, and it happens. So like that, Krishna is showing Arjun, this is going to happen. All these people are going to die, right? So Arjun is kind of scared, like, I don't want to fight this war, but Krishna is showcasing that they're already dead, right? And it's very important to understand this one sentence, Kalosmi, that time I am. So time is Krishna's energy. And like any energy of Krishna, it can be used in multiple ways. But one of the definite aspects of time is it's a silent killer, right? When I look at myself and I see, I was in my 20s just a few years ago, and suddenly I'm in my 30s, and then I'll be in my 40s, 50s, 60s, and I'm dead probably after that. The point is, wow, time really, you don't realize time. 1 minute, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, we don't realize, like, wait for a minute, we say. But in 1 minute, what can happen, right? And how these add up. So it is a silent killer, and it's an energy of time. It is also very unique. Time is something that is not present in the spiritual world. And that makes a big difference. Now, I know it's hard to imagine a world or living without time being in existence. Time is only something that's in the material world. In the spiritual world, there is no existence of time. Everything is eternal, right? We are eternally playing with Krishna, eternally dancing with Krishna, eternally doing this and eternally doing that. So it's like there's no time. It's day and night at the same time. Don't try to understand it, not in our dimension. But in our case here, we are like, okay, I do too many things and I get tired and I get hungry. And if I want to keep doing, I can't do it because time always has a role to play. If it is nighttime, I feel sleepy. If it is been too long, I've not slept, I'll fall asleep. If too long I've not eaten, I'll be weak. If too long I have not had entertainment, I'll be like burnt out. So time is constantly playing a role in our lives, and Krishna is saying, time I am. It is one of my key energies. And times, one of the key components is destruction. Like everything we know as it stands, no matter how incredible it might be, by the virtue of time, they will eventually be destroyed. That is to be understood. That destruction is a natural. Now, what happens to devotees, right? Death will happen to everyone, but the way things are destroyed, for one, it is scary. For others, it is a new beginning, right? So for example, let's talk about our startups, right? As we build startups, we sell startups. We hope that one day it'll be so valuable that I'll be able to sell it for a very nice chunk of money. And then with that, I'll do something else. So those who have that intention, for them, it's a great opportunity when we sell our startup and we're like, yay, finally exit. We call it the exit party or the exit strategy, right? But a company not doing very well, and it's kind of dies and dwindles and eventually closes shop. That's a very sad thing. Everybody goes bankrupt and people are losing money and all of that. Both are destructions. Both are bound to happen. But in one case, it's celebration. In another case, it's devastation. So same way, death is also like that. For those who are materialists, for them, death is the worst thing that can happen. There was this famous entrepreneur, I forget his name. He was saying that he would want to continue as who he is in as many lifetimes as possible. He doesn't like to die. He wouldn't want to die if it was possible, but because it's not possible, if there is an afterlife, he would be like to born as himself. No, that's not going to happen given the kind of lifestyle this person has. Having said that, so people want things to continue. So death for such a person would be like, man, I was enjoying so nicely in my private jet and multiple girlfriends and this and that, but eventually it kind of comes to a halt and game over. But for those who understand the dharmic path, for those who understand spirituality and are in this path, for them, death is just a transition for a new beginning, right? And the new beginning could be a new life. It could be a spiritual world. It could be another universe, right? It could be another species, hopefully not. But the point is, for us, death is just a transition. So it's not scary, right? So time, although one of the big components is destruction, it is not scary for those who have taken shelter of the creator of time, right? That's important to understand. And time can be played with, can be used to our advantage when we use it properly. For example, in ISKCON, we have a lot of sannyasis and gurus, and one of the what do I say? One of the incredible commonality between these personalities is their youthfulness. Almost every sannyasi and guru, if you look at them, and if I ask you their age, you will probably guess them to be 10 to 15 years younger. And that is another aspect of time, because we follow Krishna's laws and Krishna's path, and this beautiful diet process, the beautiful lifestyle, the meditation aspect. We don't age as rapidly as somebody like a movie star would, right? Sridevi, for example, died because apparently she was taking some medications and injections that would keep her heart pumping faster so she could have a higher metabolism, and as a result, heart attack happened, she died. I don't know how true or false it is, but that's what I read. But for devotees, we don't have to do all that. We live a lifestyle. We are dancing in kirtan, we are having sattvic food, we are abiding with the laws of nature in such a way that we remain more youthful than most materialists, effortlessly. So we are working, knowing time is Krishna's energy, we are playing with time in such a way that it doesn't destroy us as rapidly as it does for those who go against time, right? Anyway, I can go on and on talking about it, but you get the point. Any questions on the time aspect of things? If not, we will move on to the next verse. Is there anyone who can read nicely? Because I'm horrible at reading Sanskrit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'll give it a try.
Please.
So verse 34.
33.
33. तस्मात्त्वं मुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धं मयैवैते निहताः पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव स्वयसाचिन्. Yeah. Therefore, get up and prepare to fight. After conquering your enemies, you will enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachin, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So Krishna is basically inspiring Arjun, like I said, with the visuals, just like we use PowerPoint presentation. Krishna is using a very strong visual to inspire him and scare him and let him know that, you know what, you're with the most powerful person in this entire creation. Your enemies are already killed. Might as well fight, take the glory, because I've done the hard work for you, right? So tasmatvam uttishta. Uttishta means get up. Yaso labhasva jitva. Jitva means conquer. Conquer your enemy. Shatru. Jitva shatru. Shatru means enemy. So conquer your enemies. And he said, Nimitta matram bhava sabhyasachin. Nimitta matram means you just become the nimitta. Through you become the instrument in a simpler sense, become the instrument. So this is a very important principle when we apply this to our lives in bhakti. Now, a lot of times we are faced with challenges. We are faced with very big tasks, big responsibilities. And we question ourselves, am I capable of dealing with such a big responsibility? Can I do it? Sometimes it's a responsibility being a father and a mother. Sometimes the responsibility of being a boss. Sometimes it's being a responsibility of a manager, a teacher, right? So we wonder, will I be able to do it? Oh my God, will I look like a fool, right? So this is a verse that should be remembered at that point when we feel like, will I be able to do it? Because Krishna is the one who's doing it, right? In a devotee's life, at least, Krishna is the one who's doing it. And he's saying, become my instrument. Nimitta matram, just like a spoon. The spoon doesn't have consciousness. Hand holds the spoon, gets the food, puts it in the mouth. Now, if the spoon has its own mentality, it'll be like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do that. Right? You can't deal with a spoon like that. You want a spoon that is just going to do what the hand wants it to do. So we have to be kind of like an instrument in the hands of Krishna, and he's expert. Even if we are a blunt instrument, which many of us are, myself mostly, all right, Krishna can use a blunt instrument, but he's so dexterous. He's such an expert that he can use a blunt instrument and get the service done. And then everybody says, wow, Prabhu, or wow, Mataji, you're amazing. But it is actually Krishna doing it and giving us the credit, right? So this verse is an inspiration verse. Whenever we feel low, whenever we feel we are not up to the task, fake it till you make it and all of that, just remember, Krishna is telling Arjun that nimitta matram, right? Sorry, that verse, let me just quickly open it. That last line, nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. So by previous arrangement, just become the cause, right? Become the instrument. Savyasachin. That's one of the names of Arjuna. What does Savyasachin mean? Does anybody know? I think that means ambidextrous, those who can use both their hands. Sabyasachi refers to one who can shoot arrows very expertly in the field. Thus, Arjuna is addressed as an expert warrior capable of delivering arrows to kill his enemies. Just become an instrument, nimitta matram. This word is also very significant. The whole world is moving according to the plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Foolish persons who do not have sufficient knowledge think that nature is moving without a plan, and all manifestations are accidental formations, right? So those who are intelligent, they know everything is happening according to Krishna's plan. So Krishna has the best plan. A lot of times we pray to Krishna, can you do this? Can you do that? Those of us who know Krishna's nature, we know Krishna has superior intelligence than us. So instead of praying, we say, my dear Krishna, do what is best. Do what you think is best. Like Arjun says at the very beginning in chapter 2, he says, Krishna, tell me what is best for me. He doesn't say, let me win the war. He doesn't say, help me with a passage to the Himalayas. He said, Krishna, please tell me what is best for me. And the whole Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjun what is best for him. So when you pray to Krishna, pray in such a mood, my dear Krishna, I don't know what is best for me. I might ask for this and you might give it to me and that might not make me happy, but you know what will be best for me. So I trust you and I'm trusting you to lead my way. Please, Krishna, guide me through and do what is best for me. And Krishna will do what is best for you, and it might not align with what you thought is best for you. It might be like, oh my God, Krishna, I trusted you initially. You'll be like, why are you putting me through so much crisis? But one who is a devotee will be like, I asked Krishna, he's doing something, he must be having a plan. Right? When I was coming to India and I didn't like the whole idea of coming back, my mentor said, Krishna has a very big plan for you. Just go with Krishna's plan. And I was like, okay, I'm trusting Krishna because it doesn't look like a good plan. I think I'll be back to Chicago very soon. But turns out India was going through that phase of startups and everything. And Kolkata Ventures just happened at the right time. And I love what I'm doing with all of you, with PhilosophyFriday, with Kolkata Ventures, with ISKCON, with my services. It's very different from what I used to do. I was not a very public person in Chicago. I was just doing my things behind the scenes. But here it's like I'm constantly out in public. And this is actually my third speaking engagement today, right? I'm very, very tired, but I love it. It's great. I love to be with people. I love to share knowledge. And I have found out this is who I am. This is what I was meant to be, right? It wouldn't happen if I wasn't forced to come back to India. So sometimes it might not feel like Krishna is doing something that is good for me, but just trust the process and trust the creator. You pray, Krishna, do what is best. I'm trusting you. I'm following your plan, and become an instrument in Krishna's hand. It might be a little turbulent here and there, but just trust the plan, right? It'll be amazing. Just recently, all of you know Pinky Mataji. She just came to me as a startup mentee, found out about Bhagavad Gita, came to PhilosophyFriday. Somehow or other, her life wasn't going through turbulence, and she sold her startup, had a baby, moved to Bangalore, giving a TED talk recently, doing TV interviews. Everything just changed for the better. But when she was going through, she was like, oh my God, this is hell. And I was like, just trust the process. Take shelter of Krishna. Keep chanting. Let Krishna guide you through this dark path. And now she's like, wow, this is amazing, right? And she's preparing for a TED talk. She just sent me a little video today. Her baby is listening to one of my videos, and she's also listening together. And she's taking notes for her TED talk so she could just, and she's like so happy, and everything she wanted is happening in her life in a very short span of time, right? So, but the process, she didn't expect this to happen this way. It was something else. She was looking for funding and other things. Turns out she got an exit. She made money, and she's now in a whole different life, being a mother and an entrepreneur, and being very, very successful. So many such stories are there. So it's important that we trust Krishna, and even if the path doesn't look familiar to what we were thinking, trust the process, become an instrument in Krishna's hand, and you will be in the same boat as Arjun, right? It works, and this is the process. There's a reason why this is being spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada says the word nimitta matram is very important, because being an instrument in Krishna, that's surrender. Somebody asked me last time, what is surrender? That is surrender. Being an instrument, Krishna's hand. Krishna says, he gives you this plan and you say, okay, I'll do my 100% in this direction. Then Krishna changes the path a little bit. He said, fine, I will give my 100% going in this direction, right? And thereby excellence is your trademark wherever you go. Glad to hear Bitan. All right, moving on to the next verse. 1134. Ragni Mataji, if you're here, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm extremely sorry. In South India, we celebrate Shravan Shukravaram every Friday. So this is very auspicious for us. Everyone are coming to my house. The whole apartment are inviting me. So just 5 minutes, I'm going and coming. That's the reason I'm late today. I'm extremely sorry.
You should be very sorry. All the devotees had to tolerate my reading of the Sanskrit verses. It was very, very difficult for them. So sorry. You should be saying sorry to all of the devotees here.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, all the devotees, Prabhujis and Matajis. And now chapter 11, text 34. Dronam cha bhismam cha jayadhratam cha karnam thatanyan api yodaviran maya hatam stvam jahima vyatista yudhyasva jetasi rana rane sapapnan. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So smooth like butter. Thank you very much. So now Krishna is speaking further, right? He's talking about these great warriors. Now, Bhishma Dev, specifically, who's supposed to have the Vardhan of Ichamrittu. He can't be killed unless he wants to die. Krishna is saying even he's dead, right? So this is a very big statement. He's saying Drona, who's the teacher of all the Pandavas and Kauravas, Bhishma, Ichamrittu, Jayadratha, Karna, all these are like the biggest warriors who are the fear factor for the Pandavas. Like, oh my God, how will we overcome these guys? Krishna is saying great warriors are already destroyed. They're destroyed already. They're dead. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Now, very important to understand. In life, sometimes we have to do some killing, not physically killing somebody, but firing someone. Very hard thing to do in a business. Very hard thing to do. It's heartbreaking, but you have to do it. Otherwise, your business will suffer. All the other employees will suffer. Sometimes you have to divorce someone you love very dearly, but it's not working out. Sometimes you have to let go someone and go to a foreign country or a different state. And because it's for the long-term good. You don't want to, but you have to. So these kinds of difficult decisions where we have somebody who we love, but we realize we make short-term sacrifices and detach ourselves from that person. It almost kills us from within, but we do it for the long-term benefit, right? So here, similarly, Arjun is being told by Krishna, these personalities who he loves, some of them at least, Dronacharya and Bhishma, for sure he loves very much. It's like they're already destroyed. They're already killed. These people are unkillable. They're like such big personalities, but they're already destroyed. So he says not only kill them, but kill them without hesitation. This is very difficult to understand, right? So kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in the battle. So it is important to have a strong mentality when you are in a leadership position, whether it's in a company, in a management position, as a parent. Sometimes your child will misbehave and you have to be strong, right? Not beat the child up, for sure. No, we don't do that. But we have to discipline the child. And it might mean, now I don't have child, but I have many, many children and many, many mentees. So I remember this one mentee of mine, he is to be the hardest to deal with. Very sweet with me and very lazy. Just getting him to go from point A to point B would mean like me yelling my lungs out. Still, he wouldn't do it. So one time what happened, he had keys to my car, he had keys to my house, he had keys to everything I had, and he lost all of them. So he came, Prabhuji, sorry, I lost the keys. Can I have your keys? And I was like, you know what? If I keep giving him, he will never learn. And I said, you know what? Walk home. I will not give you another key because you lost it, and you have to be responsible. You're an adult. You're 23 years old. You've graduated from college. You have to take responsibility for your misdeeds. So if you've lost it, figure out a way to get another key or walk home. He wanted the keys to my car. And I still remember, because I love this boy very much. And it was painful for me to see him walk home. But I kept my mouth shut. I was going to be like, okay, take the keys and go. It's like, no, he has to learn. And he learned, but not really. And eventually, he never left me, and he never left Krishna consciousness. And guess what? Suddenly, Donald Trump came and he passed some law which cut down the 27-month period that a F1 student in the US could stay in America after graduation and do internships and all that till they figured out a H-1B visa. So Donald Trump came and cut down all of that and said no extension for F1 students. Foreign students can finish the studies and go back home if they don't get a job. Now, this boy, Nirman, he had only one option. He could join the military and become a citizen instantly. And he was Haryanvi, big, tall. He was like double my height, double my width, right? So he worked very hard, joined the military. I'm like, you're joining the military? Seriously? He's like, yes, Prabhu. And then from the military camps, he would tell me, Prabhu, now I'm waking up 3 o'clock in the morning. I could never get him to wake up for Mangalarati and things like that. Never get him to chant. Like to him, chanting would be like, I'm like, Nirman, have you chanted today? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Look, I just chanted. That was his way of like. And here he was like, Prabhu, between lunch and the next thing that we do, we have 10 minutes, and I finished one round at that time. I finished one round before going to bed. I finished one round. Like, wow. So, so this fellow who was very lazy, somehow he was forced to go into military, which gave discipline in his life, started chanting, and now he is a wonderful devotee. He works for Microsoft, has a wonderful job, wonderful girlfriend he's going to get married to. I think he's going to get into FBI if everything goes right. And he's no more the same person he used to be. The lazy guy, losing things, being slacker, and all of that stuff, right? And he's into shape. Now, Krishna has, he also did the same thing. He followed Krishna's path. It was like he was losing on life from every angle. But he never left me, and I never left him. And, so because of that bond, the Krishna consciousness always stayed with him in his life. And somehow he found his way. And now he has, a business that makes him $500,000 a year. And he has a fantastic job that pays him $150,000. He has multiple real estate properties. He's successful in a true sense, right? Very successful. And nobody thought he could be that guy. But again, this process, it can be a little cutting, but it works. And it is very important that we understand how Krishna works, how Krishna functions. So Krishna is telling, again, become an instrument, right? Like these people are already killed. All these big, big things you thought you couldn't, conquer over, they already conquered. So might as well do it without getting disturbed, right? So sometimes in life, you have to be strong, take strong decisions, and things happen. That doesn't make you a bad person. It just means there are certain aspects in our life that we have to make decisions that are not going to be enjoyable, but they're necessary. I'm going to pause and just see if there are any questions. Any questions anybody wants to ask? If not, we'll keep moving. Okay. Next verse. Ragni Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 35. Sanjaya uvacha etachrutva vachanam kesavasya kritanjalirvepamanah kiriti namaskritva bhuya eva krishnam sa ghangadam bhita pranamya. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. Text 36. Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
Text
please.
36. Text 36. Arjuna uvacha stane hrishikesha tava prakritya jagat prahrasyati anurajyate cha raksamsi bhitani diso dravanti sarve namasyanti cha siddha sangdaha. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone become attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Arjuna is offering his obeisances repeatedly. Now, he's feeling encouraged by Krishna's words that, these great personalities already killed. You take the win and, be glorious. So he's offering his gratitude and he's saying that devotees are not afraid of you. Demons are afraid of you, right? So when certain people say, fear God, we don't fear God, we love God, right? Demons are afraid of God. But as devotees, as perfected beings, they offer their respects to God, they love God, and we have nothing to be fearful of because of the intimate relationship we have with God. So Arjuna, after hearing Krishna about the outcome of the battle of Kurukshetra, became enlightened, and as a great devotee and friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said that everything done by Krishna is quite fit. Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and the object of worship for the devotees and destroyer for the undesirables. His actions are equally good for all. Arjuna understood herein that when the battle of Kurukshetra was being concluded, in outer space there were present many demigods, siddhas, and the intelligentsia of the higher planets, and they were observing the fight because Krishna was present there. So demigods are like watching, and you hear in Mahabharata and many times, the flower shower happens, right? Suddenly something wonderful happens, and there's demigods because they're eager to watch this. They're missing out. They're like, oh my God, we're not on planet Earth and Krishna is here. So constantly demigods are hiding from the clouds and they're looking here and there. Even when Krishna was a baby, he would be killing demons, and the demigods will be watching how Krishna kills these demons and things like that. So demigods are very much like, wow, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead doing his Leela. So even in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they were present. There's one more person I want to mention who was present, and that is Hanuman. So Hanuman was actually present in the battle of Kurukshetra on the flag that was on the chariot of Arjuna. And Hanuman's service was he would make some very screeching noises that monkeys do, but make that 100x and scary. So that would scare the hell out of the enemies. So as the chariot would be gushing in with all these horses, Krishna, coming in, and Arjuna throwing the bow and arrow, Hanuman would be making this screeching noises, and that would be just, it's like bombshells. People would be like feeling that's it, that's their death. So it's very glorious how when you're with Krishna and his entourage, it's like being with the most powerful person, and every single way, it's just very, very hip and happening, right? So there is no room for fear. Fear only happens when we forget who Krishna is and who we are in relationship to Krishna, right? When we realize we are Krishna's part and parcel, and these are the words Krishna has spoken in the Bhagavad Gita, victory is guaranteed, then we don't fear. There is no question of fear. Even the difficulties are there, we know we will come out of the difficulty. Krishna never fails us. His name is Achyuta, infallible. He never fails us. But when we forget, then we're like, what if? And that's the ignorance part. So because we are Tathastha Shakti, we can be under Maya or we are under Krishna. Sometimes we go under Maya and we're like, fear. And then some lecture we hear or some Bhagavatam example we hear. If you ever go through the situation, just give me a voice note on WhatsApp. I'll share some pastime from the Bhagavatam or some Krishna Leela, and it will encourage you to understand how Krishna functions in these particular situations, and you will feel uplifted. When you feel uplifted, your brain works differently. Your prefrontal cortex opens up and you can actually make decisions creatively think your way out of your difficult situation. So it's very important that you take advantage of Vaishnava guidance that you have access to in Philosophy Friday. It's really uplifting. I have always had that, and thank God for that. I have been able to do what I've do. Always scary situations, I call my mentor, and he gives me some words from the scriptures. It doesn't take more than 2 minutes, but then I feel like I'm flying up in sky. Because Maya is very strong, right? We forget Krishna, and then Maya comes in and she makes us believe things would go wrong. Anyway, next verse, 37.
Text 37. Kasmacha tena nameran mahatman gariyase brahmanopi adikatre ananta devesa jagannivasa tvam aksharam sat asattat param yat. O great one, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuse of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. Text 38.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read, Prabhuji? Hare
Yep.
Krishna then.
Okay, let me just actually go a little bit into 37, then we'll go to 38. By this offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. He's all-pervading. He's the soul of every soul. Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Mahatma, which means that he is most magnanimous and unlimited. Ananta indicates that there is nothing which is not covered by the influence and energy of the Supreme Lord. And Devesha means he is controller of all demigods. Deva Isha, Devesha. Devesh means one who's worshipped or who's a controller of the Devatas. And is above them all. He is a shelter of the whole universe. Arjun also thought that it was fitting that all the perfect living entities and powerful demigods offered their respectful obeisances unto him, because no one is greater than him. Arjun especially mentions that Krishna is greater than Brahma, because Brahma is created by him. Brahma is born out of the lotus stem, grown from the navel abdomen of Garvadakshayi Vishnu. Right? Who is Brahma's father? Garvadakshayi Vishnu. Right? Garvadakshayi Vishnu has the lotus coming out, and on that lotus, Brahma is sitting. So Brahma's father, Brahma doesn't have a mother. Brahma has a father, who is Garvadakshayi Vishnu, who is Krishna's plenary expansion. We know this, right? Krishna to Balaram, Balaram to Sankarshan, Sankarshan to Mahavishnu, Mahavishnu to Garvadakshayi Vishnu. So expansion of Krishna. Therefore, Brahma and Lord Shiva, who is born of Brahma and all other demigods, must offer the respectful obeisances. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord is respected by Lord Shiva and Brahma and similar other demigods. The word Aksharam is very significant because this material creation is subject to destruction, but the Lord is above the material creation. He is the cause of all the causes, and being so, he is superior to all conditioned souls within this material nature as well as the material cosmic manifestation itself. He is therefore the all great supreme. So basically, it's a glorification verse for Krishna. And as Arjun knows that the demigods are also watching, so he's basically indicating to them that why aren't they also paying obeisances to you, right? Because you are the end all be all. You are the source of all sources, the cause of all causes, the lord of the demigods, Devatas, Devesha, right? So that's Arjuna glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is sometimes our place also, right? Sometimes we might be in a situation where Krishna might not be truly represented, or he might not be properly respected. Like there was a situation where in London, in our London temple, not London temple, it's the Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is an hour from London, Watford. So it's a beautiful George Harrison's house, with massive gardens and facilities. And Shankaracharya from Kanchi, he was invited. He was having an event. They were renting the space actually. And because they're using ISKCON property, Shivram Maharaj, one of our GVCs and sannyasi gurus, he was also invited to be on the same stage. Now, we know Shankaracharya followers are Mayavadis, impersonalists. So for them, it's like they say all kinds of things about Krishna. So Shivram Maharaj was on the stage, and in front of him, this great personality, Shankaracharya, was saying, "Oh, Krishna, this, that, all one. You don't have to go to the temple to pay respects to that marble deity and this, that. That is, it's Brahman, it's all energy, all the nonsense that they like to talk about. Unfortunately, I want to say it's nonsense with all due respect, because it is nonsense. Krishna is a person, he has a personality. He is not, and deity is deity, worshipable. It's not, all the scriptures say so. Anyway, so he was talking all kinds of things like that. Being on ISKCON property, he's talking about Krishna in that light. So Shivram Maharaj, he was respectful and he was thinking, should I do say something? Should I not? He's our guest. Should I say something? Should I not? And eventually he started a conversation. And this Shankaracharya, who's a very old man, very respected by most of the Hindu community, Shivram Maharaj started discussion that you said this, that was a little hurtful to us Vaishnavas, the way you spoke about Krishna. And there was some conversation, and this Shankaracharya thought that Shivram Maharaj, being a white-bodied devotee, he wouldn't know these Sanskrit verses. So he was giving Sanskrit verses. And thankfully, Srila Prabhupada has trained us with all the Mayavadi verses that they like to use to prove their point. And thankfully, not only Srila Prabhupada, but even Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they have given us that when they say this, they will use this logic, and this is a Vaishnava logic, and this is how we defeat them. And then they'll try to defeat that logic, and this is how we defeat that logic. So we know the sequence of logic, right? So that was already there in the toolbox of Shivram Maharaj. And it literally went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, to the point where Shankaracharya, this man was like, whoa, I was underestimating this guy. And he kind of shut down and was thinking. And he's like, I'll come back from the bathroom. Just give me a second. And he went, he got in his Mercedes, and he didn't come back, right? Because he literally ran out of logic. Because he was going in the whole direction of God is all energy, God doesn't have form, God is this nothingness. And our scriptures go vehemently against that and say, Krishna, Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. God is a personality, God reciprocates, God eats, God walks, God talks, God reciprocates. His deity form will reciprocate if you offer him in the same way, right? To the degree you see him as the Supreme Lord, to that degree he reciprocates. So hundreds and hundreds of verses we have to prove our point. So now, would I have done that? No, absolutely not. I'm not in that stature, right? Even though I could do the same thing, defeat him vehemently. But I wouldn't, because I'm not in the stature. But Shivram Maharaj is on the equal platform. Sannyasi, right? Guru. So they went head to head, and Shivram Maharaj defeated him to make a point to the innocent people that this is not how Krishna is. So similarly, Arjuna in this verse is making a point to the demigods. Why are you just standing there? Pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord, right? This is, Bhishma and everybody else should also pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord. You are the ultimate personality of Godhead, the Lord of the demigods. So sometimes it is required, sometimes it is not, right? So we should know our place, where we can exercise this, when we cannot, and accordingly go for it. Generally, don't say much, right? Be humble, stay humble. But in case there's a situation that arises where innocent bystanders are being misconstrued or misunderstood about, like a Dr. Zakir Naik, the fellow talks any garbage you can think under the sun, right? And he can very, like a bullet, he'll just quote this verse, that verse, this verse, all bullshit, right? Mostly it's wrong. But he'll go around and people are like, wow, even Hindus are like, wow, I should have converted to Islam just because, this guy is so knowledgeable. Thank God that all has stopped. But the point is, those are the situations where you stand up. And if you know, like Prabhupada said, you should know the Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures, as the lawyer knows the law book. If you can know and you can challenge, then you can go head to head with these people and defeat them and show the innocent bystanders that this is what Bhagavad Tattva is, and establish proper knowledge. And like I shared, the other day I was in a certain Mayavadi place, and this sannyasi was talking like, using a certain verse from Bhagavad Gita in a completely wrong connotation and saying something completely wrong. And respectfully, I gave a clarification of that, because I felt that much I have. I can't go head to head with the sannyasi, but I can at least give the right perspective to the innocent bystanders who are there, so they don't get the wrong idea of Bhagavad Gita and Krishna, right? That's our role as being part of the disciplic succession. So it is important that all of us grow in that role, take these scriptures seriously, memorize these verses, know where what logic is hidden. And when Krishna gives us an opportunity, we should be able to pull out these tools from our toolbox and glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is one of our roles. As we move on to being the torch bearers of the disciplic succession, right? It is important that we know the scriptures very, very well. For that, hearing and chanting are two things we should do very, very carefully. We should hear the scriptures and we should chant nicely. So with chanting, it cleanses the heart so we can absorb better. And as we hear more, we can absorb more with the help of chanting. So intelligence gets sharpened when we study the scriptures, because the logic that is given in the scriptures are very, very powerful, right? So actually study of scriptures enhances intelligence, enhances memory, enhances obviously our decision-making ability. So there is no loss in the process. It is important. And for those of you have the teaching propensity, should try to learn these verses and learn the Bhagavad Gita overall. And when there are these kinds of misgivings that happen, we should be like Arjuna and be able to glorify Krishna in the right place at the right time. Okay, let's see. Let's just finish this. We'll finish with this. Yeah, go ahead, Ragni Maharaj.
Text 38. Tvam adi devah purushah puranas, tvam asya visvasya param nidhanam, vedhasi vedyam cha param cha dama, tvaya tatam vishwam anantarupa. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you.
Okay, let's
Hare
go
Krishna.
one more verse.
Yes, Prabhuji. 39, text 39. Vayur yamognir varunah sasanka prajapatisvam prapitamahascha namo namastestu sahasra krutvaha punascha bhuhyopi namo namaste. You are air and you are the supreme controller. You are the fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and yet again. Hare Krishna.
Keep going, Maharaj. We'll just finish off this glorification part, and then we'll stop after that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 40. Namah purastad ata prithataste namostute sarvata eva sarva ananta viryamita vikramamstvam sarvam samapsnosi tatosi sarvaha. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Whoever comes before you, even if he is a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Person of Godhead. Vishnu Purana. Okay, so there's plenty of glorification that's happening from Arjuna's side. So when one is overwhelmed by Krishna's wonder, naturally glorification comes from the heart, right? And that's what's happening. And Arjun is making sure, not only him, but it's also for us, it's for the demigods, it's for the Kauravas, it's for whoever is hearing him, right? They're hearing Arjuna's real realization. He's pouring his heart out in glorification of Supreme Lord. So I'll pause here and see if you guys have any questions. If I said anything that didn't make sense, or anything you want to share, any realization you want to share.
Prabhuji, I had a question. So if trees have soul, so when we actually make a new tree from the branch, so where does the new soul come from, or like how does that work?
Sorry, say that one more time.
I mean, when we make a new tree from the branch, like doing, I don't know what the process is called, like
Grafting.
grafting, yeah. So like how like is that one soul or new soul coming in, or how does that work?
That's a tricky question, and honestly speaking, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll give you a generic answer. Just like for us, the soul is in the heart region. For the tree, the soul is in the root region, right? Now, when you take out a stem and you plant it, and then new roots come out, that is supposed to be, because it's new roots coming out, it's a new soul that entered that tree body. It's a new personality or new soul. That's my understanding. Does it help you?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Yeah, doesn't sound very
No, I
convincing.
mean, like if the new soul is coming into the new root, that makes sense totally.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Now, of course, you can go further down that, and with grafting, it can be very, very sketchy. I can't answer all the questions. That much I can tell you. Okay. Aparna Singh, Hare Krishna. Sorry, was stuck in a PPT presentation. Woke up. Okay. Chandrima Singh, Hare Krishna. What is the expansion of Lord Brahma that you mentioned? I don't remember mentioning any expansion of Lord Brahma. Oh, Balaram. Oh, sorry, Lord Balaram. Yeah, Sankarshan. So there is Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva, right? Four forms of Vishnu in the spiritual world. So from Sankarshan, so if you see Lord Shiva is chanting on beads. So his Lord is Sankarshan. So he's meditating on Sankarshan. So Sankarshan is an expansion of Balaram. And from Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu comes all the universes. And in every universe, Mahavishnu expands into Garvadakshayi Vishnu. In the Garvadak ocean, he's lying there, and from his navel coming out that Padma, on which the lotus on which Brahma sits. Okay. Lord Sankarshan. Okay. Ujjwal. Okay. Anything else? Anybody has any other questions? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna and have a good night.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.